Ed Justice Jr. brought us a what? Ford what?
It's a 1932 Ford Roadster.
With Corvair taillights.
No, it's actually got the stock taillights, but they're Frenched in. The 32 Ford Roadster is the iconic hot rod.
Yes.
California, Dry Lakes, iconic hot rod. We've sponsored some modern day guys in 32 Roadsters. They stretch them just a little bit. Some of them have done a stock length and gone like 200 plus miles an hour.
Wow.
This is a short wheelbase car to be going that speed. And they have a tendency to want to sort of spin, swap in, as they say.
Everything, you know, the only thing weirder is the Willys quarter-mile drag cars.
Yeah.
That seems like another horribly ill-fated concept. Let's take this thing that's already really high off the ground and see if we can get it going 240 miles an hour.
You're basically doing it on two wheels the whole time anyway.
The whole gasser thing
really
makes no sense. But I love gassers. I mean, I'll be honest with you. We were talking about
They're
Falcon on the podcast. I'd love to have a Falcon gasser. You know, with the big, you know, front end jacked up and the thing hung down, you know, the whole gasser deal. It's a great look. For me, very nostalgic. You know?
And this is why this country is great, because the less sense it makes, the more American it is. Like drag boats.
Hey, you know what?
Yes.
The guy who built this, my dad and he originally became friends on a bus ride from Fresno to Alameda, California. Now I know there's some good stories there, but anyway, they were both going into the military in World War II. They had enlisted, and they met by showing pictures of their hot rods, their custom cars actually at that time, and they became lifelong friends. Well, years later, George Bistain is the gentleman's name. He built 732 Ford cars. Victoria, which is a coupe type, you know, closed hardtop. Phantom, which is a open windowed four-door. Gosh, he had a regular fendered Roadster. Anyway, 7 of them, all exactly the same color, all with white tops if they had a top. And he'd take them around to the car shows. Well, because George built this, it's got all the right things for the Dry Lakes 40s era hot rod. It's got the Carson type top, which is a chop top. It's got a mail slot type rear window, which is the thin window.
Right.
It's got the banjo steering wheel that's been cut down. And it's funny, you know, here's a guy that was around like my dad back in the day. They had the flatheads, but when they built a car, they didn't put the flathead back in. Now, I own a lot of flatheads, and they're great motors, and you know, like 200 horsepower max type thing. But you know, the small block Chevy is just such a bulletproof motor, and it doesn't overheat. Now, I know people will write in to go, hey, that's wrong, flatheads don't overheat. No, that's right. You can drive them where they don't overheat with supplemental fans and all that. And now what they do at the flathead, so you can run at freeway speeds, they put a Chevy S10 transmission on it to give you an extra gear.
Right.
Because that's the other thing. If you drive a flathead on the freeway and you got the original transmission, you're just going to be running that thing on the needle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, there's reasons why they did that. And it's got the skinny tires, you know, like they'd run back in the time. Steel wheels with the beauty ring and the hubcap. And it's got a rumble seat now, or as they called them back in the day, mother-in-law seat.
Wow.
You know,
I love that.
Very subtle. You know, they were not politically correct back then, right?
I miss those days.
And you know, it's one touch up here. It's got the extra louvers, which the guys who know what they're looking at know that. They took and Frenched in the Ford logo here.
Oh,
yeah, that's cool.
Like a guy said at the LA Roadster show, he says, that's the only car I've ever seen that. So they had to blister the radiator shell out and set this in. There's a lot of work in the steel work to do that. And then, of course, the front bumpers, when you do a hot rod, are taken off. They close this because this is all open frame rail. And, you know, you go to the LA Roadster show or any of these hot rod shows, and in the thousands of cars that you'll see the worst to the best. And in between all that, if you're going to build one, you'll get every idea to make it yours. And that's the whole thing about a hot rod is to make it yours.
Right.
You know, coming over here on the freeway, I'm getting bounced around, and with these non-biased tires.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the grooving and the freeway steering it. And,
sucking you.
Yeah,
around,
with people that aren't not familiar with that, it can be a little bit disconcerting. The great thing about using a Chevy small block for a project like this is you can buy these things for $1,700 about brand new, and so when you know, and then you go ahead and you add all the, you know, the goodies, you know, like it's got the Edelbrock valve covers and the carburetor and the chrome alternator and all that, and you know, I mean, where can you buy a 300 horsepower motor, crate motor, built for under $2,000?
It's sort of the Ford F-150 of engines. Like, you're never going to get more bang for your buck. I mean, in terms of torque, horsepower, reliability, and the parts. Look, I mean, the reality is the only thing that hurts it is how popular it is and how good it is, and everyone wants to pull up in something that's different just so they can say it's
Hemi or blown or whatever. But
whatever,
you can
just
see,
to say it's different. But this is a beautiful plumbing job.
When he built it, he went the extra length on all the bent stainless lines, the braided lines, etc. The top guy, Dave Gady, he actually does restoration interiors for like P-51s and that. And this is like a side thing.
There it is. Looks good, sounds good.
You know, this is just such a great thing to cruise. You know, there's a lot of cars that you can drive and that we all drive, and you get reactions with all of them. And if you got some exotic Italian car, you probably are going to get a hand signal, you know what I mean? And with a hot rod, you get a hand signal. And they're different hand signals, you know what I mean? Hot rods just project happiness, friendliness, good times, and that's what they all are all about.
I mean, they're the rock and roll music of cars. They're just, it's American. It's very uniquely American.
You're right.
Italian cars, well, just in the name alone.
Well, and you know, there are a lot of people that claim to have started the rock and roll and hot rod type genre. Today, I mean, I see these people, and you know, it actually happened before a lot of them were born. I mean, it goes all the way back to the very beginning with the Beach Boys, with the Little Deuce Coupe,
Dick Dale,
etc. You know what I mean? It goes way, way back.
Yeah.
And you know, and then through the lineage, then you came to the ZZ Top car that Pete Chaporis built. You know, I mean, that was one that a lot of people. And then you came along with, you know, Billy Gibbons' Cadzilla, that was a project that Harry Hibbler, a friend of mine, put together with Boyd. And then Boyd came along, you know, later. And you know, I mean, you're right. It's the rock and roll and hot rods have always just been together.
And yeah, and it's true. And then today, you know, Lincoln Park's not singing about their Little Deuce Coupe. All right, Ed, where do we send people if they want to go to their computer and find Justice Brother products and other things like that?
JusticeBrothers.com. That's Justice and Brothers spelled out.com. They can also go to edjusticejr.com, and there you'll find a link to our private automotive collection, which is open, available for, you know, you can go see it. And there's a page on that, and between those two websites, you pretty much see it all.
Thanks, awesome. Ed. Always a pleasure. Always so nice of you to come on and out, bring your projects and your cars and talk to us a little about, and we'll do it again real soon.
I love talking with you guys because you're car guys, you know what I mean? I did an interview the other day with a guy, and he wanted to know how to spell the guy's name, and it was like, really? I mean, it's a well-known guy, you know, so anyway.
Yeah. Well, we like it. That's why we're here, you know. So we bring you in, and
it's part of all of our culture.
And Matt will give you a tour of the shop as soon as we're done here. So until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Ed Justice Jr. and Matt the Motorator D'Andrea saying, keep the air in the spare and the bag in the wheel.